All right. Kevin, you got me?
I do.
All right. And we're good, CJ. All right. So Kevin, we're live on YouTube and Facebook Live, and this will air on the radio side at 4 o'clock. So,
okay.
Just so you're aware. All right. We'll get it rolling with Kevin Monroe. We'll head out to the Pit Electric Live line and talk to the former Pirate, Kevin Monroe, right now. He joins us today on Pirate Radio Live. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Cliff. Hope you are.
Yes, sir. Doing well. And Pirates coming off a W against USF. And what a difference a week makes, Kevin. Last week we were kind of scratching our heads. What happened to Holden Ahlers and this Pirate offense that we had seen the first 3 games? And then, man, they wake up down in Boca Raton, an offensive explosion in the first half, 41 points. And one of the best offensive halves of football we've seen in a long time here, Kevin.
It was interesting to watch. I mean, it was very surprising. I think part of it, the injury to Jalen Johnson, and then all of a sudden CJ Johnson's on the outside now, where he was in the past, and he's now catching deep ball after deep ball after deep ball over top of people's heads, and like it was just old hat, like it was just him in his freshman year, and it was fun to watch. So I heard a lot of people obviously getting very upset about Coach Kirkpatrick and the play calling 2 weeks ago, and now everyone was thrilled at how much the offense opened up this week. I'm not so sure play calling was a whole lot different. We won a lot of one-on-one matchups this week that we maybe didn't win in previous weeks. So when C.J. Johnson goes running down the field past a corner and catches a deep ball, is that an open up offense? Is that different than what we've done in the past, or is it someone winning a matchup, getting open, and Holton finding him? However you want to look at it, it worked out, and the offense exploded there in that first half.
Did you notice, Kevin, like what was Navy doing defensively different than South Florida was doing? Was South Florida just allowing more opportunities, or was East Carolina taking advantage, like you said, and making the plays when they were given those opportunities? What was like the big difference there defensively?
From my vantage point, it was the pressure. It was the quarterback pressure. Navy stayed in the backfield in that game. I'm not really sure why or how, but they blitzed a lot, and they were in Holton's face a lot, and it made it tough on him to look downfield and make the deep throws. He got a little bit of a happy feet sometimes and was trying to scramble out of the pocket and just look for something to dump on off. So that would be the key for me, is that just, you can be a good defensive back with a great pass rush when you have guys in the quarterback space all the time. So that's what I saw from Navy.
Kevin Monroe joining us. Pirates coming off a nice offensive performance. And, Kevin, how about 2 more goal line stops on defense? That's 5 on the year. They got a turnover and then a 4th down stop late in the game in the 4th quarter. And this defense, anytime a team gets it inside the 5, the expectation now is that they hold them to 3 or 0, because we've seen it so many times. They were able to do it 2 more times on Saturday.
Man, I tell you what, I mean, I think that the defense in general, kind of in between the 20s, can fix some things.
Yeah.
Giving up some passes deep and, a run here or there that has broken. But, man, when they get inside that 10-yard line, they buckle down. And, there's no receivers open. There's no running game to be spoken of. And it's everybody. It's from D-line to linebackers to DBs. Everybody's coming up, making hits, making sure tackles, getting guys on the ground. They're all covering where they should be covering. It's almost like just a flip switches, and they figure it out, inside the goal line. So I'm thrilled to see that keep happening. I think the state game kind of woke that up, and ever since then they've been dominant down there.
And Kevin, man, we got a secondary that likes to hit, that likes to tackle. Once again, Julius Wood forcing a fumble there, and I think it was Dion that famously said, he doesn't get paid to tackle, right, Kevin? I think that was the quote. But we got some DBs that'll hit, and as a former DB yourself, I know you enjoy watching that.
I do, and I love Julius Wood's name. Quick story: my true freshman year, we come in, and once we get in pads, all of a sudden there's this one guy that's just knocking people out, and this is just freshman practice, and he's every time you turn around, you can just hear pads popping, and it's Jeff Carr, and so veteran guys start saying, "Ooh, that young cat brings the wood," and so literally from summer camp, my true freshman year, till this day, everybody calls Jeff Carr Wood, the way he used to hit people. And so to have a guy back there named Julius Wood that's out there hitting people is pretty funny. Kind of brings, it's kind of nostalgic for me. But he's a hitter. Tegan Wilkes, a big-time tackler back there. The corners come up and make tackles, which I really like. Sometimes they're even too aggressive, as you saw on the one deep pass play that they had in that game. Tegan Wood was coming up for a kill shot and missed the guy, and that's when he went for that long touchdown. But other than that, man, they're pretty sure tacklers back there, and it's fun to watch.
Kevin Monroe joining us. Tulane up next, a very solid football team coming off the win over Houston. And we've talked about it this week, Kevin, that Tulane has not had sustained success there, but they had that undefeated year. Sean King, did you run into those teams, Kevin, when you were at East Carolina?
So I didn't play. Well, I want to say Sean King's. Yeah, I mean, we definitely ran into them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think on the undefeated year if we played them or not. We probably did, though, because I want to say he was in that mid-'90s. I think he finished up like 97, 98.
Yeah.
I played 95 to 99. So, yeah, I don't know if I was a starter then, but, yeah, we definitely played them in those years.
Point being, they've had some great times. They've had some down times. Bryce Williams, tight end, joins us every Tuesday. He remembers Tulane as a team you could kind of roll over, although they did upset East Carolina one year in triple overtime in the Superdome. But they're back on the upswing now with Willie Fritz. They had a down year last year, Kevin. East Carolina was able to take advantage of that. But these players that we've talked to this week have said, when we look at Tulane, we see ourselves. It's kind of a physical, hard-nosed, that they use the word culture, use the word program, kind of similarities right now, the way Mike Houston's running things and the way Willie Fritz runs it down there.
Yeah, it's interesting, this team in general. We've always known that Willie Fritz could coach and that, they have the right mindset. They haven't always had the players. They haven't always had the discipline. But this year they seem to have turned it around. They've got an on-campus facility now. He doesn't see the ton. And, their first two home games, they were averaging about 15,000 fans, which, if you compare that to East Carolina, we're getting 3 times that at home games. But they're excited about the football and they're winning. This schedule, if you look at it, UMass, Alcorn State, not very good football teams. Southern Miss is down a little bit. There's 3 games where they were playing opponents that are either not very good or not having the best year in Southern Miss. But at Kansas State and at Houston, those are 2 teams where you gotta kind of perk up your eyes and say, wow, those are big time wins. Those top 25 teams. And they went on the road and beat those guys. So they are impressive. Pratt, his quarterback, who sounds like he's going to be back this week, is a guy that can run and throw. He's an accurate quarterback. He's been around for several years. So the Pirates will have their hands full, specifically defensively. They're putting up some points, although a lot of those points came in the Alcorn State and UMass games. They're still showing they can put up points.
Kevin Monroe joining us. Pirates playing through injury like a lot of teams are at this point in the season, and we talked to Rajay Harris earlier today. No surprise, Kevin, he is keeping his head up high, keeping a positive attitude. He's got to, as he undergoes surgery next week, and then a lot of rehab. But Rajay is one of the most positive people you'll meet, so I think he'll get through this. But now for the Pirates, they're down a running back. Keaton Mitchell didn't play last week, hopefully, and he should be back this week. But, man, we've seen Marlon Gunn kind of break out here early in the season. Camaro Edmonds waiting in the wings. So we talked about it preseason, Kevin. They had stocked this running back room, and now they're going to need to see it. They're going to have to show it because one of their best guys is down in Rajay.
Yeah, running back's a weird position in that you need a lot of them, and it's hard to keep those guys happy. But if you don't have 3 or 4 good backs, you're going to find yourself towards the end of the year struggling because someone always gets nicked up. You obviously hate to see a season-ending injury, but yeah, it's just one of those positions where they take such a pounding. It used to be kind of 30 in the NFL was when running backs started going downhill. Now it's more like 27, 28. I mean, you get a few years in there, and there's pretty much no team in the NFL that just has one guy. I mean, maybe Derrick Henry a little bit, but everybody else is playing running back by committee, and that's just the way it is. And in college, it's the same thing. And guys, I love the way Keaton Mitchell and Rajay Harris support each other. They're rooting for each other to do really well, and so for him to be out is a big deal. Now, he's not the home run hitter that Keaton Mitchell is, so when Keaton Mitchell's out, it strains the offense maybe a little bit more. It doesn't make him any less of a back. It's just the fact that Keaton can go 80 yards at any moment is a huge deal. So not having him out, I don't want to minimize that. It's still a big deal, but having Gunn in there and having Keaton Mitchell back would definitely help and keep this offense running game going forward.
Kevin Monroe joining us, Pit Electric Live Line, East Carolina on the road Saturday at Tulane, 3:30. Our pregame coverage begins 11:30 on the Bud Light pregame tailgate. We're with you after the game on the U.S. Sailor fifth quarter call-in show. And then, Kevin, next week, Pirates home for Memphis. And I don't think I've asked you about this. You're a fashionable guy. What did you think of the uniforms, the modern throwback uniforms that's taken a splash from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even today? What did you think of those uniforms they unveiled that they'll be wearing in that Memphis game?
Cliff, I love them. I really do. It may be my favorite uniform combination. I mean, it is sharp. I love the ode to the prior generations. Obviously, I was a player of the '90s, so part of the color scheme of the jerseys is the jersey that we wore. But obviously we didn't wear Adidas, so they didn't look as nice. But man, I think they're really impressive. Kudos to the folks that put those together and the people that shelled out the dollars to pay for them. It's nice to be a program that can be on the cutting edge of nice uniforms. It wasn't like that always, and to have the Adidas sponsorship and to have the boosters backing it and putting money towards it to get uniforms like that is a big deal.
Good stuff. Kevin Monroe joining us. Kevin, we'll wrap it up as we always do with a little NFL talk. Cowboys beat the Commanders to the surprise of no one. Rough times right now in Washington, but how you feeling through 4 weeks with your boys?
Well, you know what? Week one was rough, but it wasn't losing to Tampa. That was the big deal. It was losing Dak Prescott. So a lot of Cowboy fans were like, "Man, the season's over." If they were saying he was going to be out 4 to 5 weeks, I was just wanting the Cooper Rush to go 2-2, 2-3, something like that to keep the Cowboys in it. And the fact that he's won 3 straight is just more than we can ask for. I don't know what happens against the Rams. I'm not sure we're good enough to beat the Rams with Cooper Rush back there. But I'm just at least excited that they've been competitive. The defense has been playing really well, so we'll see if they can keep it going.
Yeah, and speaking of uniforms, Kevin, you did comment on Washington's black uniforms, and I guess the good news on that is that if somebody tuned in, they wouldn't know who the Cowboys were beating. So nobody knows they beat Washington. That's the positive. I did say to Bailey that it when you turn the game on, bad or good over the years, a Cowboys-Redskins game, the uniform combination was always fun to see on TV, and we were kind of missing that on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I've loved watching, the Skins, now Commanders play over the years, and regardless of the records from either team, they're always close games, and so it's frustrating because I'll watch a game and see the Skins get beat by 25 by somebody, and then we're in a 15-16 game against them, and so that's just the way it is. The history of it, and it's always going to be that way, and so I'm always nervous when we play FC East teams.
Kevin, always enjoyed the chat, man. We'll catch up with you again soon and do it all over again. Have a good weekend, man.
Appreciate it, Cliff.
All right, Kevin, we'll wrap it up there. Appreciate it, man.
All right, man, no problem.
Later. There is Kevin Monroe. We will be back with you 3 o'clock live on Pirate Radio Live. Troy D in hour number 1 of the show. We'll have our interview with Rajay Harris. You'll hear from Corey Glore and Kevin Monroe in hour 2. And then in the 5 o'clock hour, touchdown. Tony Collins talking NFL. And, of course, East Carolina. We got some Mike Houston, Donnie Kirkpatrick, and Blake Harrell comments to get to as well on the show. So we'll be back here live with you at 3 o'clock. We'll talk to you then.